Welcome back, gamers, to Top 10 Gaming. I'm your host, Johnny Rogers. If you happen to be new to the channel, we put out daily content on everything video game related, so hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on another video. Plus, comment down below with what you love most about Cuphead. Now let's jump into today's solo story of the scariest Cuphead creepypastas titled Mugman.EXE. The following creepypasta is based on the part 2 of the Cuphead.EXE story and was written by YouTuber YeahManTV. Our story begins with our protagonist purchasing a laptop from a local pawn shop. He loved Cuphead and downloaded what is believed to be one of the most twisted versions of the game. He describes how he joined Cuphead and going on a rampage through the game's map, playing for hours on end. The protagonist decided to log off once he reached the bridge back to where the Eldars House was. Cuphead stopped to say that he wanted to check on Mugman. After logging out of the game, he suddenly noticed that there was a new icon on his desktop. He could have sworn that the laptop was blank when he opened it, but perhaps in his rush to download the Cuphead file, he just missed it. The gamer leaned closer to the screen to clarify what exactly he was seeing. The file was named Mugman.EXE. I guess the Cuphead game downloaded that as well, he muttered to himself. At this point, he was so exhausted from playing Cuphead that he just decided to go to sleep and to check the file another day. He woke up the next day around 11 AM or so, and as he walked into his living room, he found the old laptop on his desk was open. Not just open, but the screen was bent back further than the laptop normally would allow. He could have sworn that he had shut it off before drifting to sleep, but then again, maybe he just didn't remember leaving it up. The gamer booted the laptop back up, straightened the screen back to 90 degrees and logged in. There it was, the Cuphead.EXE file, and right underneath was the Mugman.EXE file. The icon of the file was a simple image of Mugman's head, except his eyes appeared to be a black void. Still hesitant to click on the mysterious file, he opened up the Cuphead game. His camera view was hovering over the bridge area right where he had left off. There he was, Cuphead was still standing in the same spot, slowly shaking back and forth with his maniacal toothy grin. The protagonist noticed that he had no control over the character. He furiously clicked his mouse and mashed his keyboard, but still nothing. A window popped up saying that if the gamer wanted to continue playing Cuphead, that he would first have to download and install the Mugman file. Following that message, the game just shut itself down. A terrible grinding sound began emitting from his speakers. It sounded similar to when a disc is jammed in a computer. The sound was deafening and caused the laptop to heat up as the screen turned to black. He took a deep breath, rolled his shoulders, and patiently waited for this awful noise to cease. For a moment he thought to himself, well, I guess that's it for this laptop. As he got up from his desk, he swore that he heard a voice say, "Where are you going, buddy?" The gamer slowly turned back to the laptop to see that it was back at the desktop screen. Now it felt like some force was controlling him as he walked back to the laptop and double-clicked on the Mugman file. A similar menu for Cuphead appeared on his screen, but the menu looked different. Instead of the usual start game, it oddly said continue. Without hesitation, he did just that. He clicked continue, proceeding with the game. The map looked normal except for this odd red undertone. Cuphead was now standing in front of the Eldars house, but he wasn't holding the axe from before. He could now control Cuphead because I guess he clicked on the Mugman file. He attempted to move him back into the main area of the map, but the game wouldn't allow it. Therefore, he only had one option: to go inside of the recently deceased Eldars house. A chill went down his spine as he walked towards the home. Its atmosphere felt more eerie than ever before. Suddenly he heard the mysterious voice speak again. Let's go see what Mugman's up to. The door to the home was open, and as he searched around, it was nothing but pure darkness. As Cuphead walked into the home, the music turned to silence. Goosebumps began forming on his arm and neck as the voice spoke again. Ah, shucks. We need light. Let's light a fire in the fireplace. Simple enough, except when the fire started, an old show tune song began playing. As light filled the once dark and creepy room, he could now see everything in the home. For one, he discovered the music was coming from an old record player. What he saw next, though, made him wish that he had just left the home the way it was. The gamer's jaw dropped as he turned to see blood splattered across the walls. The animated blood completely overwhelmed his senses. There were puddles on the floor, droplets falling off the edges of tables, and even drops of blood were coming from the ceiling. The Cuphead character turned to the camera as the voice spoke yet again. Do you like what I did with the place? The gamer, now realizing that the voice was coming from the Cuphead character all along, controlling him, taunting him, leading him into this gruesome environment for which he was now standing in the middle of. He spoke again. I thought the room could use a fresh new color. The protagonist was now completely speechless. He didn't know what to do. Was he supposed to speak to the character? How silly would that be? I mean, it was just a game after all. However, it appeared as though the Cuphead character was attempting to communicate with him, as if he knew he was there. Cuphead then began to move on his own. He walked over to the table and pointed at a covered dish in the center of the table as he said, "Oh boy, I sure am starving. Assuming the worst, but now struck with curiosity, the gamer pressed the action button, allowing Cuphead to remove the cover from the top of the dish. It was Mugman's head. Cuphead, now with a devilish grin on his face, spoke, "I know what you're thinking. How could I have done such a thing? We need to put him back together. Tape and glue, it'll do, so Mugman can join us too." What was the point of all this, he pondered to himself as the protagonist now sat at his computer frozen in fear for what may happen next. Cuphead then turned and faced the gamer yet again, with a deadpan look on his face as he explained that he had dismembered Mugman and placed him throughout the room. He now did the unthinkable and searched the home for all of the Mugman parts. He collected them all and placed them in a pile next to Mugman's severed head. Cuphead let out a maniacal laugh as the disc jamming sound played yet again. With the screen then flashing to black and then back to the game, it continued to do this back and forth as he watched graphic animated scenes of Cuphead sewing and taping Mugman back together. The screen flashed to black for a moment and then back to the game with a now pieced together Mugman lying on the table. Cuphead spoke, "You have to be the one to complete him, silly." The gamer muttered under his breath, "What am I supposed to do?" At this moment he realized that the game could hear him, because in response Cuphead said, "You gotta fill his mug back up. Use the vials of blood we collected. Pour them in, and that should do it." That's when he remembered the massacre that he had gone on with Cuphead in the other file the night before. With each massacre, the two of them collected vials of their victims' blood. His once nervous chills throughout his body turned into a fear-inducing sweat streaming down his hairline to his chin. The gamer did just as he was told though, and began pouring the blood into Mugman's head. The cracks in the character were so bad that it was leaking all over the place. Cuphead then encouraged the gamer to place both hands on the keyboard, holding all of the controls at once in order to complete this daunting task. Without thinking twice, he placed both of his hands on the keyboard and pressed down. He could feel a strange tingling in his fingers. They were stuck. He fiercely tried to remove them from the keyboard, but they wouldn't budge. He watched in horror as Cuphead used long strings to lift the Mugman character almost like a marionette doll. The tingling in his fingers turned to shooting pain, like a needle being jammed into every finger at once. Blood flowed from the tips of his fingers and went in between the keys. As he quickly lost more and more blood, the protagonist blacks out. When he regains consciousness, his fingers were still stuck to the keyboard, and on the desktop was another new icon. It was labeled Scariest.EXE. And that has been our solo story of the scariest Cuphead creepypastas titled Mugman.EXE. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, show us some love by tapping that like and subscribe button. Plus, comment down below with your thoughts on this story. And for more videos like this one, all you have to do is click that playlist on your screen. From Top 10 Gaming, I'm Johnny Rogers. Until next time, take care.